When the Amazon forest was burning in Brazil in August last year, many people thousands of kilometers away were worried. Millions of people have also prayed for Amazon through social media. According to data from Brazil's National Institute for Space Research, the number of fires in the Amazon this year was 84% higher than the previous year. At the same time as second last year, there were fires in the Amazon. Amazon is called the lungs of the earth. Seeing that burning lung, world leaders and ordinary people all fell into worry. However, there are reasons for concern because the rate of deforestation around the world is alarming. When humans started farming 12,000 years ago, there were about 5.8 trillion trees covering half of the world. Do you know the number of trees in the world today? According to a journal published in Nature magazine in 2015, the number of trees in the whole world is 3 trillion. But there is no way to say that these 3 trillion trees are safe. According to a study by Nature, 15 billion trees are cut down every year around the world. Around 32% of the world's forest cover has been lost since the rise of industry, and the rate continues to rise. The question is, if at some point all the forests of the world are destroyed, then what will happen? In a practical sense, all the trees on Earth will never be destroyed, but the amount of forest land may gradually approach the danger level. If we accept for the sake of argument that, for some reason, all the trees of the world were destroyed in the space of one night, then what will actually happen to our world? How long can humans and other species survive without trees? Let's seriously talk about this. If you are watching the video, that means you are a nature lover. We appreciate your choice and request you to share this video with your friends and social media, so people can aware about it. Please watch the entire video and like the video if you enjoy it after watching. A tree is like a lifeline for the world. Earth cannot be imagined without trees. The main difference between Earth and other planets is that it has a habitable environment. And that environment is created only for trees. In the world we can imagine without trees, other species, including humans, would not exist. Biodiversity has already started to be destroyed due to deforestation. If all the rest of the world's trees were lost in the meantime, it would be a doomsday situation for all species of animals. Areas where deforestation will occur will have the greatest impact. Along with that, the areas away from the forest land will also be in danger. However, species that directly depend on a single tree or a part of a tree will become extinct first. A 2018 study found that areas with more trees are home to 50 to 100% more species than open areas. Even a tree in an empty space attracts biodiversity like a magnet. They attract various species of animals to themselves as well as provide them with food and shelter. This means that the extinction of even a single tree has a huge impact on the animal world. Cutting down a tree means destroying food and habitat for many animals. Trees act as natural pumps in nature. Absorption of water from the ground and through transpiration disperses it in nature in the form of vapor, which again falls as rain. We know it as water cycle. And we have come to know about how important the water cycle is for nature by reading school books. If there are no trees, this water cycle will naturally be disrupted. Trees not only help to bring rain. It also prevents landslides by intercepting rain and floodwater. In addition, vegetation plays a major role in preventing major storms in coastal areas. If all the forests are cleared, then naturally those areas will turn from dry to desert. If it ever rains heavily before this, there will be massive landslides. Because then there will be nothing to block the rainwater. Due to this, a large part of the coastal and riverside areas will go underwater. Also, large-scale landslides will adversely affect aquatic life in the sea. The shade that trees provide to people is priceless. The heat that the soil absorbs from the sunlight is reduced again through the shade of the trees. Because trees absorb heat from the environment. Besides, trees also absorb carbon dioxide from the environment. Without those trees, the amount of carbon in the atmosphere would increase. And also the temperature will increase. Deforestation of only 25 square kilometers leads to an annual temperature increase of 2 degrees Celsius in the tropics. 1 degree Celsius rise in temperate zone. globally trees are already fighting against warming. They have to absorb huge amounts of carbon from the environment every year. But still they have to cut. As a result, global warming is increasing. According to the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, 13% of the world's total carbon emissions have increased due to deforestation. If there were no trees on the planet, it is estimated that the total amount of carbon in the atmosphere would be 450 gigatons, which is twice the amount of carbon released by humans. This will affect smaller plants, especially grasses. While smaller species of plants will take up carbon at a higher rate than larger plants, they cannot completely store it in themselves. They will eventually release carbon back into nature. And within a few decades these plants will also disappear. As a result, there will be no opportunity to reduce the amount of carbon from the environment. Once in nature, when the amount of carbon continues to increase, it will turn into a bomb. It can be said that it will be the most powerful bomb in the world. It will also be huge in size. Because the whole world will then become a single bomb. Earth will become hundreds of times warmer than normal. Even the sea water will absorb the carbon. This will cause excess acidification and will kill all the animals living in the ocean. Human suffering will begin before global warming exceeds the danger threshold. Excessive temperatures and lack of plants will cause the water cycle to collapse. At the same time, billions of people and animals will die due to lack of shade. Currently, about 1.6 billion people are directly dependent on trees, many of whom are involved in food and medicine production. If the trees are lost, poverty and death will attack them. Millions of woodworkers, papermakers, carpenters, and fruit growers around the world will suddenly be out of work, which will affect the world economy. According to World Bank data, 13.2 million people are currently directly dependent on the wood industry, which generates $600 billion annually. The agricultural system will collapse due to lack of trees. Crops that are grown in the shade will have a major reduction in production. Excess temperature and lack of rainfall will reduce production of most crops. Crops that are currently difficult to grow will then become extinct. Excessive use of pesticides and chemical fertilizers for crop cultivation will increase due to excessive drying of the soil. But at some point even those will become ineffective. Then most of the Earth's land will become unfit for cultivation and habitation. Extinction of all the trees on Earth will have a serious impact on human health. Trees absorb various pollutants from the environment and trap various particles through their leaves and branches, which are very harmful to our health. According to the U.S. Forest Service, U.S. trees alone absorb 17.4 million tons of pollutants from the environment each year, which would cost $6.8 billion to clean up. Not only that, this roll of trees saves 850 lives every year in the United States. Also helps 670,000 people to stay away from acute respiratory problems. The lack of trees leads to the spread of rare and new diseases. A great example is the Ebola virus. If all of the world's trees were suddenly lost, Ebola, Nipah and West Nile viruses would spread rapidly. Besides, the prevalence of malaria and dengue diseases spread by mosquitoes will also increase. But lack of trees will hurt not only physically but also mentally. Parks and forests help people maintain good mental health. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation recommends walking in parks to reduce anxiety and improve energy levels and sleep. The role of plants in healthcare is more profound. A 1984 study found that if a patient is confined to 4 walls after surgery, it takes longer to recover. On the contrary, if there is a green nature scene next to his room, then the patient recovers in a short time. Some recent studies have revealed that if children play in green nature, they develop a positive mindset. Also, they are more focused on studies. Plant breeding cannot end here. Trees also help reduce crime. In Baltimore, USA, increasing the number of trees by 10% resulted in a 12% reduction in crime. Even Japanese doctors are now recommending forest bath to cure ailments. Extinction of trees will not only hurt the environment, health or economy but also culture. Trees feature in art, literature, poetry, music, and more in every country in the world. Extinction of trees means these will also be lost. Many poems or lyrics will lose their credibility. Besides, trees are also associated with various religious rituals. Many of these religious ceremonies will also be lost due to lack of trees. Finally, the question is, can people survive without trees? The answer is no. If there were no trees on Earth, then no humans would exist on Earth. Because the air will become poisonous due to lack of trees. There will be no plant and animal food. In addition, the environment will become dry and almost all the lands of the world will become deserts. As a result, severe water shortage will occur. Is it possible for a human being to survive without water, oxygen, and food? Of course not. But not all people will die in one day. But gradually all people will die. But there is definitely a solution. And that is, planting a lot of trees from now on. Because only trees can restore our previous environment. Now the decision is ours. Shall we build industry by destroying the environment, or preserve forests to make our world more beautiful? The world is ours, life is also ours. The damage we will do to the earth today, our future generations will suffer the consequences. So we need to think now. Watch our videos about how Singapore using science to reduce city's temperature and 7 most effective ways to reduce plastic pollution. That's all for today. See you in another video. If you enjoy the video and found it informative, then please like the video and let us know your opinion in the comment box. Never forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon next to it. Share the video if we earn it. Thanks for watching.